Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic Issue 9. A troubled past, a haunted future. Flashpoint interlude. Homecoming. Working with 4 of the greatest seers in the Jedi Order, Master Lucien Draay kept a careful vigil, watching for the return of the Sith. Weeks ago, a vision suggesting one of their own students on Terrace might destroy the Order led the 5 to a desperate preventative act. Murder. But they failed to kill one student. Zane Carrick, and everything has gone wrong ever since. Framed for the crime, Zane escapes, setting off a chain reaction. Civil order on Terrace collapses, and the Mandalorians, who had been feigning weakness during a series of border clashes, use the disruption to attack the Republican force. And now, Lucien and his partners have been called home to explain themselves to the Jedi High Council and to someone else. Coruscant, a long time ago.
Ah, Milady Crinder, welcome. How have you been?
Surviving, 9BD. Surviving. I'm sorry I haven't been to the creche more often.
I understand, my lady, but this will be a lovely surprise for your son. He had no idea you would be visiting today.
No. Idea? Really? I'm sorry to hear that.
Poor Lucien.
Coruscant, today.
Where are you?
I'm sorry, but the Draay estate is closed to... Oh, Master Lucien, I didn't know you had returned to Coruscant.
It was a sudden decision. I need to see my mother.
I'm sorry, but her ladyship is not seeing guests at this time.
I'm not a guest, 9BD. This is my house.
And I will alert the household to your arrival. Please stand by.
Did you see her?
Of course not. It's not as if we crossed half the galaxy or anything. Is Semi still on with Republic security?
Yes! With the invasion, they are concerned they might not have the resources to devote to finding Zane Carrick.
How predictable. Administrator, Master Lucien Draay here. The Mandalorians are a long way from Coruscant. Administrator, you still have a job to do. Kind words were fine for our Padawan's funerals. Now we need action. The murderer and his accomplices could be anywhere in the Republic and deal with the Jedi High Council. But after that, I'm sending over one of my associates to monitor your progress. Act quickly, and I may not send over the Wild One.
Would you really send over Ranna?
Only if I wanted to start a war with the Republic. What's this?
There was a message for you, Master Lucien. You are instructed to wait for contact.
Wait for contact?
That is the message. Good day, Master Lucien. It is good to see you again.
Incredible.
I don't understand. With all that's happened, I can't believe she wouldn't want to see me. I mean, us.
Just drive. The Jedi are waiting.
The Draay estate, Coruscant, 30 years ago.
My lady, the Jedi are waiting. They have someone else for you to see.
My answer is the same, Haazen. Send them away. I want nothing more to do with the Jedi or their wars.
Begging your pardon, Lady Crinder, but they will keep coming. The Sith War took many seers, and there are few left who can teach. It's been 4 years since your loss. They had hope that...
Then their hope failed, as mine did. I will see no... Wait, this one is special, no? Ask them to send her up.
She is already here, my lady. She knew you would ask to see her. Her name is Cornelia.
The Jedi High Council, Coruscant, today.
And while you report on what you saw at Ondern and Duxen is, of course, disturbing. Nonetheless, you had no business investigating on your own. We're still rebuilding our ranks from the last war. We can't afford this kind of adventurism, even if we were supporting it.
and involving other knights and Padawans in your scouting missions was simply beyond reproach. And now we learn that some of them were abducted from Georgia before the surprise attack. And after you left Round Run, the refugee who saw it all told us, you will find them and bring them directly back here. No diversion, no delay. There was no place for the Order in the wrangling over the Outer Rim, and there is certainly no place for it in the wider Mandalorian war.
Well, we meet again. I'm sorry we were unable to oblige you on Terrace, but I trust you found your investigations enlightening.
You see that I was right now, don't you? The truth is written in blood.
I'm sorry. I'm not sure I know which truth you mean.
Goodbye, Lucien Draay. I have learners to save. The High Council will see you now.
The Draay estate Coruscant, 25 years ago.
Why? Why can't I train with your students? I can use the Force. You've seen it.
You have Haazen to teach you. Is he not adequate?
He's fine, Mother, but he's not a Jedi. He's just a failed Padawan.
Haazen has been an able assistant, Lucien. Count yourself fortunate. There are hardly enough Jedi to provide formal training to the best candidates, much less the more limited.
Limited? The Miraluka you invited here, they can't even see.
They can see farther than you can, boy. If only my father's blood had been stronger, I would gladly have given my eyes, and yours, for you to be able to see what the Miraluka can, what I can. But it was my destiny to have both sight and second sight. It was yours to have sight alone, too much like your father.
My father? My father was a great warrior.
Your father is a dead warrior. If I could only have seen the evil surrounding us, then he might have... My sister might have... Master Vodo might have... Leave me.
Failed Padawan.
Leave me alone, both of you.
I would think you would know by now not to mention the Sith War.
I didn't. She brought it up, like always.
Your mother is a great woman, and a great Jedi, but she spends every day in shame. The greatest Jedi could not foresee the rise of Exar Kun, one right in their midst. Your father, many fathers, died for it. Some fared worse than that, rant if you will, youngling, but you will never understand your mother until you understand her mission.
The Jedi High Council, Coruscant, today.
And it appears to this council that you have failed in the most basic mission a Jedi instructor can have. As Master Vandar has said many times, we're not just their teachers, we're their protectors. Former dead Padawans speak of how well you listen to our colleagues' wise counsel.
It is I who should have listened, Master Vrook. None of these masters were eager to have students assigned to them. Perhaps that reluctance was, in fact, wisdom.
Masters of the Council, I did it. I am guilty. I killed the Padawans on Terrace. Or I might as well have. The dark side touched my Padawan, and I failed to act. Of this, I stand convicted. But I reject this notion that events on Terrace led to the Mandalorian breakout. The Mandalorians are attacking now along 3 corridors. The Outer Rim is but one. They've purely been preparing you for months. Your last visitor to the contrary. I, for one, do not think this body should take responsibility for the Republic's intelligence failures. No masters. The concern of the Jedi must ever be the Sith. That's why it's crucial that sane Karath be stopped. Stopped? Before he discovers more Sith knowledge. Stopped before he can taint any Jedi that he meets. I humbly ask that my fellow masters be permitted to lead the search for Sion Karath, so that in eradicating this menace, we might redeem ourselves in some small way of the crimes we were unable to prevent. Thank you.
To lead the search. You know, I've never really understood how you 5 kept winding up together. but it's safe to say the fruits of your collaboration have not impressed us. I don't think we need to see any more. You are all being reassigned to separate postings. An alert about Karath's group will be sent to all Jedi stations. May the Force be with you.
No, Master. You can't—
That's enough. If we're going to have a Jedi Council at all, then somebody somewhere is going to do what it tells them.
I do not understand why we do not tell them all we have foreseen for saying.
An alert. That's a bandage on a gushing wound.
If they knew what was at stake.
Did you miss the last hour? The Mandalorians are invading, and they're still not listening to prophecies about them. A Sith Lord could walk right in front of the Council, and they'd lecture him about neutrality.
Less passion, Ranna. We have to see clearly. Although right now, I see only more obstacles ahead. The further the Mandalorians step, the more traction our colleague back there will get. The Jedi could lose what little focus they have.
Yeah. Back home, reclaiming ground lost in war was the noblest cause you could have. Jermars, we called it. What's the basic word?
Revanchism. It's irrelevant, just as the Council's orders to us are. We had no intention of allowing our pursuit in Zane to end. A covenant exists to do what they can or want. Period. Or no war. Ranna, you had something to show me on your project.
Right here.
You do dance with the dark side, don't you?
It will work.
Relax. It's approved. Just keep our hands clean. And now, you'll have to excuse me. It looks like I'm not finished doing battle today after all.
The Draay estate Coruscant, 20 years ago.
Stop this! I agreed to allow my students exercises, Haazen, but I won't have Lucien hurting them.
Apologies, my lady, but Lucien is every bit the fighter his father was. Master Vandar Tokare has even offered to bring him into the Order, on a probationary trial, of course.
Words. Do you understand what he could have done? This is the finest group of seers I've ever had before me. Ranna, Zamar, Cornelia, easily the best of their species, and who ever heard of a Fibrin Jedi, but Feln is a natural, and together, they're stronger, they see more vividly than any Jedi I've ever known.
You think this is the group you've been looking for?
It's the group I've foreseen, at last, the ones who'll do what must be done.
At last. All right, I'll make the preparations. The Draay family fortune and connections will come in handy, but begging your pardon, my lady, for this to work, they'll need help.
Help? What kind of help could they possibly—
Practical help, handling arrangements, protection, the sort of service I render you here, to allow you to focus on higher issues.
You have someone in mind?
My lady is ahead of me as usual.
The Draay estate, Coruscant. Today.
I must have been out of my mind to trust you, Lucien. I called Taris, and you never responded. After you told us of the vision, you were specifically told to return the Padawans here for our evaluation. Instead,
I interpreted the situation on the ground and acted, as you always wanted me to do.
I never wanted you to do that. No, the Covenant's only barely escaped exposure, and your effectiveness is greatly reduced.
Where's my mother, Haazen?
She's here. Can't you feel her presence?
No, yes.
You're getting as feeble as you are with the future. Your handling of the Taris affair is proof of that. And I have been examining the reports in Vandar's files. Why didn't you tell us about Zane Carrick's special relationship with the Force?
There was no reason to. It was of no use to anyone.
You mean the Jedi didn't know what to do with it? Maybe it was his teachers who were of no use to him. I was a so-called failed Padawan myself.
No need to get nostalgic, Haazen. You still are.
Insubordinate as ever. Well, there's to be no mistake about this. You will bring Zane Carrick here, alive!
No, old man. Zane will die, and the nightmare will be averted. The risk is too great.
Look at me. I lived through the Sith War. I know the risk better than you and your mother, and I know how to best deal with that risk. You will bring him before us.
Where is my mother, Haazen?
Forces are in motion, Lucien. You will bring Zane before us.
There's something you're not telling me, is there? It's all fair. There's something I haven't told you yet, too.
To be continued. Next time on Knights of the Old Republic.
Do Arcanians fascinate you too? This is the perfect specimen.
When a real Mandalorian captures a Jedi on his ship, they pay him heed.
The most important thing is to warn the Republic.
It's a little late for that. The Mandalorian wars have already begun.
I suppose you were right.